Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Kim and this is a book forest. Today I'm gonna do my April and May wrap-up because I didn't get to do my April wrap-up last month. So I'm gonna try to do it quickly. I'm not gonna go really much into the descriptions of the books. I'm just gonna give a little recap of my reading. So in April I was supposed to read, I was finishing Warbreaker. I was supposed to read The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I was supposed to read Pawn's Gambit by Rob J. Hayes. The Godmakers by Frank Herbert. Animal Farm by George Orwell. And The Bookshop of Second Chances by Jackie Fraser. So I'm gonna start right away with the ones I did not read. So I did not read The Bookshop of Second Chances. I think it's a little romance, change of life type, and it will remain on my 2024 TBR. The books I don't read, basically I'm just gonna hold on to them and read them if I have more time in a month, or they're gonna end up in my December TBR basically. What else did I not read? I did not read Pawn's Gambit by Rob J. Hayes, so that one is also remaining on my TBR. I had read Never Die last year or a couple of years ago, and I wanted to keep going with that series. So the first thing I finished in April was Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. It's part of my Sanderson year of reading. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. I think I enjoy his series more than his standalones because I read Elantris before that. It's better than in certain ways. It's better than Elantris. It has the plot is tighter. The pacing is better. The characters are a bit more well defined, and most of them are useful. I wouldn't say like I think he still has too many characters to focus on, but it was quite enjoyable. The world is not my favorite. It has like, we may essentially stay in one city for the whole thing, and the city itself was okay. It was not my favorite. I really enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed there's two characters whose paths we don't see them together in the book, but they are their paths are basically crossing, but not like their experience. Basically, like one starts way over there and the other one starts here, and they're basically switching places essentially. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. But it's worth a read for sure. It's really good. I gave it 4 stars. Then I read Animal Farm by George Orwell, nice and short. It's a good palate cleanser as well. Not necessarily super light-hearted. It is kind of a children's story, but the subject matter isn't anything but. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Animal Farm. I had read 1984 a few years ago, and I really enjoyed that. It depressed me, but you know, that's what it's supposed to do. I think this is better written than 1984, and it's also tight, nicer. Like there's no fat in that story at all. It's told as a little children's story about animals, and basically it's just a allegory for communism and the history of communism. Yeah, you can, like animals, you can definitely equate them to one character from history, or like a certain type of person. So it was really good. I think I still prefer 1984 though. I think I understand why this is read in schools. I understand it's really well done, and it can explain history, the communism history, really well for children or for younger, for teenagers. I, however, did not read that when I was a teenager, so unfortunately, I think I would have enjoyed it more back then. But I gave that 4 stars, and it's really, I think it's worth a read for sure. And then I jumped into The Way of King, or jumped back, because I had already started it last year in December. Um, I don't know why it took me so long to read this. Like, it took me, I think, until the third of the story to really get hooked into it, and like I couldn't stop after that. And then I had to jump in the second book right away. I think like, of course, the beginning is setting all the whole world, and it's huge, and all the history and the characters, and you get to know them really well. So it pays off way later on. It's a banger of an ending for sure. I really, really love the characters. I mean, he made me feel all sorts of emotions for them. Um, I was near tears at sometimes. Dalinar, he's stoic, kind of out, like he's a he's a father. He's trying to be a father. He's trying to be a leader. He's trying to be a good assistant to his king. It's all clashing. It's nothing is working for him, but he's trying. Bless him. I love Dalinar. He's my favorite. And next is Kaladin. Kaladin is more of a, he's a slave, and he's depressed, and he's trying really hard not to let himself go, basically. And he's a carer. He loves to care for people. But of course, that's not explaining the whole story. So the world is Roshar. It has loads of storms. The storms are extremely violent, so you cannot get caught into a storm, like you will die. And there's magic that went away, and now it's coming back, probably, maybe. So yeah, like epic fantasy, amazing. I gave this 5 stars, really well deserved. And then in May, I was supposed to read Words of Radiance, of course, the follow-up in the Stormlight Archive. I was supposed to read Edge Dancer, which is also a short story in the same world. Dreamer's Pool by Juliette Marillier, which is the first book in the Blackthorn and Grimm trilogy. And then Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. I was supposed to read, in this omnibus, I was supposed to read the first story, which is a few, not 100-page maybe. So I'll start with what I did not get to. I did not get to Binti, unfortunately, and it's teeny tiny story, but I was like, oh yeah, I'll finish the month with that one, and I never did. In my TBR, I remember myself saying like, oh yeah, I'll have time to read that. No, I did not. But yeah, it's gonna remain on my yearly TBR. Then I jumped into Words of Radiance. This is amazing. I loved it so much, even more than Way of Kings, for different reasons. Like, there's way more action in this. Now you jump in, the characters are established, the world, you know everything. Like, you know the world, you know the characters, you know mainly what you need to know to follow. And yeah, this book is more focused on Shallan, who in the first book she's there, but she's not, like, the focus is not entirely on her. She's one of like the main characters, yes, for sure. But you don't really get that attached to her at first. I didn't, anyways. But in this one, you really get to know her and her backstory, and yeah, she's basically all these people are all so broken. They are broken, but they keep going. So yeah, that's one of the main themes, like resilience, keep going even if things are not looking up. And of course, you get to spend more time with Kaladin, Dalinar. They're like their trials and tribulation. Basically, they're tested to their limits in this book, and you have so much heart, so beautiful, amazing action, magic. everything I wanted was in there. It's delicious. Yes, so I gave that 5 stars as well. Amazing. Eventually I will do reviews for those. But I'm not in a hurry to do them. I want to do them well. So right now, all I want to do is keep reading. Like I want to stay in this world so much, so bad. It's wonderful. Um, and then I read Dreamer's Pool by Juliette Marillier. She is one of my favorite authors. She wrote the Seven Waters trilogy, where there's 2 trilogies really. It's set in like medieval Ireland with fairies, like with the Tuatha De Danann, and it's magic, a bit of magic, a bit of history, a bit of love. So it's wonderful. This one is a bit, it's not as good, I say, as Daughter of the Forest in the Seven Waters. So this is the trilogy Blackthorn and Grimm. The main characters are Blackthorn and Grimm. They are at the start of the story in prison. They've been there for years. They are completely broken people. Blackthorn, like we don't know anything about them. We just know that they were convicted, probably wrongfully, and they lock them up and throw away the key. Um, so Blackthorn is a loner. She doesn't want to get help from anyone. She's a bit brash, like she's a bit prickly. Blackthorn. So yeah, she's kind of like, get away from me, leave me alone, and she's set on revenge for what happened to her. Um, like that's her main goal, but she gets thwarted because there's a Tuatha De Danann, a fairy basically from Ireland, who tells her she needs to go to a certain place in a kingdom in the north, and she needs to set up shop there and be a healer, which she is, and to help anyone who asks her for like 7 years. And in those 7 years, she is not allowed to get revenge. She is not allowed to do what she actually wants to do. She just needs to go and heal people, basically help people, be a do-gooder. And she doesn't know why he's setting up those conditions for her, but if she doesn't do it, she's going back to prison and probably gonna die there. So she doesn't really have much of a choice. So she sets off after she escapes from prison to the Northern Kingdom. It's called Dalriada, and Grimm, who is one of her cellmates, like he was the neighbor in the neighboring cell. Grimm is a big, strapping dude, and he's also extremely broken. He has nightmares. He barely even sleeps. He doesn't like the dark. Obviously, he's been traumatized, and he really, really needs to be with her. Like he's always looking for her. Like she's the only person that calms him down. Like he admires Blackthorn so much, so he follows her basically. And she's like, oh, he's following me. But she can't really tell him to leave because, well, she's supposed to help everyone who asks, and he kind of asks without words, like he needs her. So she lets him stick around basically, and they get to this kingdom, and in this kingdom there's gonna be a task that they need to fulfill. It's really wonderful. I really loved those 2 characters. I loved their interaction, and yeah, I want to see more from them. Like I can't wait to read the next book. What happens, like the task that they need to solve, and like there's like a prince in Dalriada, and he's the one who needs help basically. I thought it could have been done better. We have his perspective, like his point of view basically, the prince, and I thought the book might have been better if we didn't, because it kind of it's not mysterious anymore. Like you don't know if we hadn't had this point of view, we would have not known if he was a good guy or a bad guy, but you kind of know from the start. So the suspense would have been better without his point of view, and it's kind of the weakest point of this book. I didn't really enjoy his point of view. I didn't enjoy his character much. But yeah, any time I got to spend with Blackthorn and Grimm, I was over the moon. They're lovely. So yeah, that's what I read. And I read also a short story by Rob J. Hayes in the instead of Pond's Gambit. Basically, I read the Century Blade. It's like a teeny tiny short story in his world. It's cute. I mean, it reads like a children's story, so there's not much to say about it. If you read Never Die and the trilogy, basically, you could read that one. It's cute, and it takes no time at all. And then I'm currently reading Edge Dancer. So I didn't finish Edge Dancer. I'm about halfway through, and I'm reading this before I read Oathbringer, basically. Yeah, it's cute. I mean, Lift is the main character in this story. She's like a 12-year-old, and she's kind of independent. She doesn't want to help from anyone. She's kind of a troublemaker. So yeah, it's cute. I mean, it's just a novella. I'm not super into novellas usually, so we'll see. I haven't finished. So yeah, that was my April and May wrap up. Let me know if you've read any of those books, what you thought about them, and what you read in May, what you enjoyed, and yeah. So see you next time. Have a nice day.